have your own Toastmaster journey in line with that mission. A key component for that growth is going to be unlocked through their education program, which is called Pathways. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what it is, how it impacts you, and how it will help you achieve your goals. What are the most common goals that Toastmasters have? Toastmasters International did some research back in July, and they found out that this is what members were saying. They want to build confidence for public speaking, be a more effective speaker, improve their presentation and leadership skills, be able to network with others and build those social connections. In addition, I had to look twice at this. They said over 70% of people have achieved their primary goals. A key enabler to that is the education system, Pathways. Toastmaster discovered that adults do best when they're in control of their learning. Because of that, they've tailored their system to meet your own needs and goals. It's a modern system. It has learning tools, videos, questionnaires, interactive speeches, which all help you learn at your own pace. The benefit of this system is that it helps you develop your skills with an eye to how you're going to apply them in the real world outside of Toastmasters. There are things like frequent recognition systems. I didn't even realize that in levels 3, 4, and 5, you can have Toastmasters send a letter to your employer or an email to your employer. Another thing, it's online. It goes everywhere that you go. And the videos, they help you reinforce the skills that you're already learning. The way that I'm going to approach this is with this path line. The first step that we're going to talk about is selecting a path. You might say, what exactly is this path thing? Well, it's a special learning curriculum or program that helps you develop your specific communication leadership skills. There are 5 levels to it, and it goes in increasing complexity. Like you'll start out at level 1. Each level contains a series of projects. And what we're going to find, a project is a specific module that includes a number of activities to help you develop your skills, and it culminates that you have to give a speech on it. One of the things we're going to do is select a path. The default path is something called presentation mastery. And that helps you really connect with your audience, help understand them. It helps you write the speech and gives you the skill to really develop something that's effective. It does that, again, by applying skills that aren't just particular to Toastmasters, but you can use outside of this. As I mentioned, presentation mastery is the default path, and that's what we recommend that you use. But just to let you know, a bunch of paths are out there right now. And as you develop, you might want to say, oh, well, I really want to develop adding humor to my path. Or, hey, I'm really interested in leadership. Maybe I want to choose dynamic leadership. Again, what we're recommending is to go with the default because becoming a more confident communicator is very common for a lot of people. Remember I talked about that there were different projects? I know this is a busy slide, so don't read too much into it, but way over at the left, we have for the presentation presentation mastery, we have 4 different projects. There's the icebreaker, and that in particular is the one that we're going to spend a lot of time on. But to help build, remember, this is like a staircase in building your skills. After you do your icebreaker, which a big part of it is to get you in front of people, get a little bit more confidence on how to work in that environment. But then it's like Lego blocks. Another Lego piece is that they're going to help you with writing a speech. There's an introduction, there's a body, there's a conclusion. Once you've written that speech, how can you deliver that most effectively? Sometimes you need to add vocal variety. Other times, the right body language. And then the last project is actually three parts where you're going to deliver a speech, you're going to be evaluated and have that evaluation come back to you, and you're going to redo your speech, trying to implement that evaluation's feedback. You're also going to be an evaluator. One of the things I want to point out is you might think, well, is presentation mastery, is that going to give me enough flexibility? Well, I want to talk to you about these electives for the levels 3 through 5. If you take a look at them, they give you an awful lot of flexibility. For example, on level 3, if you want to get better at presentation software, you can do that. If you want to give an audience where you inspire your audience, you can do that as well. I do research for a living. So that last one for researching and presenting, a lot of times instead of talking with acronyms and things like that, you have to be able to adjust how you're presenting your information so that people that are not familiar with your area of research can really understand it. When you get to level 4, do you have a need to create a podcast? Or do you want to get more familiar with managing projects? Well, you can do that through these electives. When you get to level 5, and again, remember, as you progress through the levels, it advances in complexity. Here you can do something where you might want to moderate a panel discussion, or I've used the high performance leadership to put on a speech contest. So again, what I'm saying is that if you would start with this default presentation mastery uh, project or path, this gives you a lot of flexibility, especially with the electives. Again, as I mentioned, the green star, what we are going to, although there's lots of stuff on this slide, we are primarily going to focus on icebreaker because I think that is most relevant to you as new members. So we've talked about selecting a path. Again, we recommend you go with the default presentation mastery. But now we'd like to figure out how you're going to navigate this learning system. I believe most of you have received an email from Toastmaster International that gives you about 4 or 5 basic steps. The first one is they want you to log into Toastmasters International. Now, the way you log in could differ a little bit. If you came to Toastmasters through something like Find a Club and you clicked on that link that said, hey, I'd like to visit the club and schedule a visit, you went through something called a prospective member management system. And by going through that path, you've already got an account, and you've got a special ID. But if you've not gone through that path, you will just log in to toastmasters.org login. And just as a heads up, at the end of this presentation, for those interested Toastmaster members, we'll actually roll up our sleeves and do a lab, and we'll have you folks, if you'd like to, stay and try and log in. We can help you out with that. So a next thing that the email that you got recommends is to go to the navigator. That's sort of a cheat sheet for Toastmasters, help guide you through it. In fact, if you go to that web page, you can go through here and click on each of those little panels below. They can give you more information as a new member to Toastmasters. If you want to learn more about speeches and evaluations, click on that. If you want to expand on what we're talking about today with pathways, click that one that says Pathways Learning Experience. Again, that will probably be a good one to look at after I'm done giving this presentation to help you reinforce some of the ideas. And then at the bottom, that's sort of like a dot, dot, dot. If you want to learn more about things like mentoring, they've got information there. They also, on the right side, have different, they're like bookmarks that can take you to other additional information. In particular, I really like going to the Toastmaster Monthly magazine. Gives a lot of good information to provide overall context on Toastmasters. So after you've gone through the first couple bullets, they want you to enroll in pathways. That's more choosing your path.
Sandy,
Yes.
there's a question in the chat from Rolf. I don't see Navigator when I logged into my Toastmasters account.
Then where you go in, if you, well, one thing you could do, I forget the exact part, but you could Google like Toastmasters, the Navigator, and it'll pop up. I actually have in one of I don't know if you can see the link at the very bottom down here, https://toastmasters.org/the hyphen navigator.
Thank you.
Does that help out? Were you able to get to it? Okay. Any other questions? And I love questions. So if that, helps you better understand, please go for it. So after we go through the icebreaker, again, something that you probably want to follow up is talk with your VPE or Vice President of Education to pair you up with a mentor, or they could redirect you to somebody else in the club that could help you out with that. So what I'm going to do in a couple slides, I'm actually going to switch to my browser and go through this, but just to tell you how I got to the place where we can look at the icebreaker. First, I have already logged in, and you can see that up at the top, it says, welcome, Sandra. Although actually go Sandy, Sandra's the legal thing. So once you get there, where you're going to go down is to this panel where I've got a blue star. It says go to pathway. Or go to base camp. That's how we get into the world of pathways. When I log into that, I'm actually working on a couple paths right now, presentation mastery and persuasive influence. So as I said, we're going to focus on presentation mastery. Now, when I first log in, I've actually been working on a number of things in the presentation mastery path. You see the 5 levels. You see those little green check marks by level 1, 2, and 3? That means that I have already completed that. The other 2 paths below are still works in progress. I'm partway through. Again, this is probably way too much information for you because we're just going to focus on level 1, but at least I wanted to give you that overview part. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to my browser, and we're now live. As I said, we are focusing on level 1, the icebreaker. Now, when you get in here, it's sort of nice. They give you a nice introduction in the beginning about what the icebreaker is all about. And then they give you some resources. The ones in particular, whenever I log into a new project like this, I click over here so I can download both the evaluation resource and the whole icebreaker project. Now, the reason I do that is as I'm going through this web interactive version, sometimes they'll ask me questions about things I've read a couple web pages back. So I actually have the PDF version, which is this third item right here. I've got that up, while over on the right, I'm doing the interactive part. I just find that that's really good. The evaluation resource is at the end when you're going to present your icebreaker speech to your club. You're going to want to send this evaluation resource to your evaluator in the club. So that's something just before I even roll up my sleeves. I like to have those couple resources I just keep on my desktop. Now to get to the next slide, ta-da, we hit next. Now, here it talks about getting started. Remember, I said this is interactive. As you're going through here, if you want to get some information, they try to make it easier for you. Another thing, just to let you know, over on the left side, now I've already gone through all of these items as part of the icebreaker. So I've got those little green check marks. But when you first come in here, you will only get the green check mark after you've completed this section of the icebreaker. So now let's go to next. Now it's talking about a little bit of the introduction here, and in particular, it's really important to look at what is the purpose of this assignment. In fact, oftentimes your evaluator, before you actually give your speech, will say, person X is going to do the icebreaker, and the purpose is, and they will read that. And this helps them as an evaluator to know what you're trying to achieve. Then you go on to next. Now, when you come in here, and again, I've already done this, but when I came in here, this was empty. And so, I did it probably not the most creative way, but they give you an example. But you can do something else here. You can personalize this and say, this is what I know right now, and maybe the wonder, this is what I want to know. And, if you've got a bunch of items, you can just, add other things in here as well. Again, really try and personalize this. And instead of you going through it, think about it and say, okay, this is really, my thoughts on it. They also talked about, hey, when you get the finish line on this, what are some of the competencies, the things that you have learned and you have practiced? I have to do it again. Again, just to sort of demonstrate that you can go through here and interact with it as you're learning the different steps on it. Now, this one gets some of the things that I really enjoy. In fact, I started back in the 90s when we were doing manuals. We did not have videos then. The other thing I really like about this is it's not just something that's very dry. A lot of times they've got scenarios where they're interacting with different people. You get to see in a video to help you reinforce some of the points that they are trying to make in this project. Another thing I'd like is they talk about I didn't point it out before, but there is an outline worksheet. And you might say, what the heck am I supposed to do here? Ah, a little helpful hint here that a tool for this worksheet that lets you get a little bit more information on it. I'm all for helpful hints. Again, more information in here that talks about when you're going through this. You're going to write it out. Try and remember, fit it into your outline. Think about, you're just not talking the words, you're talking the words to your audience. How can you best connect with them? Another part is really that stands out to me is they give you techniques for practicing. Again, if you have anxiety, which many people do, it's been proven that the more you practice, the more rehearse, the confidence you have, and the anxiety level tends to dissipate. I've found a number of ways that I rehearse. Personally, I like to, once I'm done writing it out, I push back my chair, I stand up, and I give the speech. Just nobody's listening. I just like to have the words come out instead of just remembering the words on the page. I've got 3 kids. My poor kids have put up with listening to a lot of my speeches, although To be honest, it was really helpful because I can watch their eyes. And when they sort of glaze over, I know, oops, I better go back and maybe do that part again. I also found that it's very helpful for members in my club. Before I actually do it in a club meeting, I will pull somebody aside, and it could be my mentor. And I'm like, hey, can we do a Zoom meeting over lunch? Can I just go through it? And I found that's very beneficial. Maybe I've got some nervous twitches where I'm moving back and forth, or some other thing where I'm using a lot of filler words. They'll give me a heads up to pay attention to that before I actually do it in the meeting. There actually are other ways. There is a tool that we used to have that was in Toastmaster called Udily, but there are other similar type tools that you can use out in the wild west of the internet that you can use to record yourself, and they have AI speech agents that can help provide your feedback. Again, just be careful with the type of information you're saying when you put those recordings out there. You can do it in front of a mirror. You can, have other, there are other practice sections that you can go through. This is a really important one to time yourself. I messed up and gave a speech this week where I was doing something and I was doing it, the person that was my timer was remote and I wasn't catching all the green, yellow, and red lights. And to be honest, I'm not happy with it, but I went over time. Time yourself to try and respect people's time and hit within your time frame. For this speech, you have 4 to 6 minutes to try and hit within there. Again, they give you some advice and they give you some additional information that can help you understand what you're trying to accomplish. This is an important point as well. If find out who your evaluator will be for your speech, and talk to them. And you might say, hey, this is something I really want to pay attention to. Like, I'm worried that I'm not going to do within 4 to 6 minutes. Can you pay particular attention to that? Or maybe you're saying, I tend to rock back and forth, and I'm going to try and just be more purposeful in my movements. Can you pay attention to that? They have another speech here that you can give here, and it even tells you at the bottom, this is like a 1 minute speech that can help you about how to really relax, breathe, and enjoy. You've got some other comments about anxiety. It's very normal. Even I've been doing speeches for a long time, and I still get a little bit nervous. Although to me, that's almost a way of saying, yeah, to me, well, I should say yes, not yeah. Yes, this is important to me. This is something I really want to do the best that I can. Again, just another example how this is interactive, and they're trying to, with key points, provide you with additional information. Again, this is a modern technology system. They've had people that do this for a living, really trying to figure out what are the best ways of interacting with the people that are doing this to help them really reinforce key points. Again, just additional information that you can be provided with. Remember I said that I like to have the PDF up when I'm doing this? Here they're asking me a question, and this is, I've already done this before, but, it was empty like this. And I found at first, I went back and tried to just back arrow it, but maybe I'm a little impatient, but it seemed like it was taking too much time. So instead, I just remember I said I had that PDF that I could pull up, and I had these side by side, and it helped me answer these questions. I mean, it's just my 2 cents. You can find whatever works for you. Again, they're just talking about sort of over giving you over again what the purpose was, what the overview is, that this is 4 to 6 minutes. These are more just some of the checklist items that we have for this area that I'm really not going to focus on here. They talk about your evaluation, how they're going to grade it. What does it mean if they give me a 1 for developing? They would give me a 1 if they figured that the things that I was trying to express, maybe they didn't quite get what I was saying. Whereas if they give me a 5 for exemplary, that's like a thumbs up. They thought that I was really applying a lot of the lessons that were learned in here. Now here, they've got some things that they can say, okay, that you've gone through a lot of these items, have you really understood a lot of what they were trying to get across? Now, once you've done this stuff, then you're ready to complete your project. And this is really important. It's cool that you've gone through and given your speech, but you're not done. To get credit, to get that green check mark, you have to go in here and say, what my title was. Ice, breaker for me, or, something creative, better than that. You can say, hey, I just went in and I gave my speech today. I'm a member of 2 clubs. I just gave my speech for B&D show. The evaluator for my speech was, hey, Ben did my evaluation today. When you want to do your evaluation resource, at first it's like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of stuff in here. But what you have to do is go down to the one that starts with icebreaker. There we go. And click on that. Again, this is dependent on which the project you're doing.
Is it me or did I cannot hear Sandy anymore?
Yes, Sandy, we're not hearing you. Did you mute yourself by mistake?
I think she froze.
Okay. She'll be back. Are there any questions that Anoop can answer for you now?
We've
There was a
had the
yeah,
question about recording, and Anne is going to email a link to the recording
yeah.
when the training is over.
She's back.
I'm back.
Yay.
All right.
All
Sorry
right.
about that. Let me share my screen again. All right. Can you see my screen?
We're waiting. Now we can.
Yeah, we can.
All right. When did I cut off? Should I talk about this screen again or?
I think you got that.
All right. So the second part that's really important, and again, I have completed this already, but there will be a button here. And it's really important that you click on that. So again, those 2 last parts are really important. After you're done speaking, make sure you enter in what your speech title was, the date, and all that business, and then say that the project is completed. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my slides. Oops, although and I will make these slides available after, but I will go back to here. So what we've talked about is how to select a path. You've learned about pathways. We've showed you a couple slides, as well as the actual interacting with the education system itself. The next thing you would want to do is to schedule your icebreaker. Something I want to point out, as of October 22nd, we have a new requirement. Before you actually give your speech, you have to be a table topic speaker, meaning somebody is asking you a question in your meeting, a table topics question, and then you have to respond. Why do they do this? Well, they're trying to help you out. There's often some anxiety with an icebreaker. So, what they want to do is to give you another time where you can speak in front of your club, even just for 1 to 2 minutes, just to get a little bit more confidence before you do the icebreaker. Again, this is something new that happened just about a month ago. Then you can get with your VPE and possibly talk with your mentor about getting it set up and scheduled. The last part is to be able to make it transferable. An important point, as I was mentioning before, is they're not doing this, just scoot this down here, so that you get credit in Toastmasters. I mean, I'm not just diminishing that. That's a really cool thing that you're meeting, you have these goals and you're meeting the accomplishment. For me personally, it's really important that I can apply a lot of this stuff through work. And I sort of briefly mentioned this. If you are doing project management, that would really apply. Or if you were doing stuff in a volunteer organization, a lot of these skills are transferable, not only work, in volunteer work, but even your personal life as well. So what I've talked to you today about is what this Pathways thing is all about, how they've modernized it, how it's technology driven so that it's very personalized to help you learn the best way to meet your own goals. You can do it at your own pace. There's not just like a timer going that, you've got to meet it by this specific time. It's more in the context of your life. Want a call to action for you folks to use pathways to help you as an enabler to meet those goals that are specific to you that you want to achieve. Are there other questions that you have on what I've talked about? If there's not any questions, as I said, this is sort of a two-part where I just gave you a lot of information, uh, a bunch of information on pathways. But for
Looks like
those of you who are interested, and others you could leave at this point, but if you'd like to actually try out logging in, getting into pathways and finding where the icebreaker is, feel free to stick around. But if not, you're free to go. If people have questions, please reach out to members in your club, or you could reach out to me as well. I could put my information in the chat, or maybe Ann could do that. So you could reach out for help.
Hi, Sandy. This is Ed Molenkamp, and I do have a question for you. I'm going to be applying to be an accredited Toastmaster in January. I've been a professional speaker for a long time now. And I'm wondering regarding pathways, I know there is a certain hurdle that I have to achieve in order to apply for accredited Toastmaster. I don't know what that is. I'm confused as to, do I complete a level 1? Do I complete a whole pathway? How does that work?
Right. I'm not familiar with that offhand. Is it, Ann, are you familiar with that at all, or?
I'm going to refer you to Cheryl Rausch, who has all the answers on that. I'll send you a private chat message with her email address in there, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that question. Robin.
Sandy, quick question about goal setting as we onboard new members. And I'm not sure if this is the perfect form for that, but it might frame it up for new members who are entering pathways. What kind of goal setting conversation do you have about their own personal goals and how that process of Toastmasters can achieve those goals to develop those transferable skills?
That's an excellent question. In fact, we had a guest that was in my club, my home club, B&D this week. And after the end of the meeting, we talked a little bit, and she said, you know what? My degree is actually in education. She did that for a while before she joined her current at work. For the first couple years, she did a lot of work as a trainer, and she did this for her living. She had lots of experience with that. But she then got into other job requirements at her job for about a decade. But now she found out she's back as a deputy group leader. And she found out a couple weeks ago she had to go into this auditorium with bunches of people. And she was like, oh man, she got all nervous again. And she was like, I forgot how to do this. And so we sort of talked a little bit that in a way, Toastmasters is like a communication gym. Like our club meets every Tuesday at lunchtime. And it's something that helps you sort of exercise those skills. So for her, her goal is that she wants to get back more comfortable. And so that is something that she is very interested in. Although she's in a leadership position, that's not the goal she wants to hit right now. She wants to just get those communication muscles going again. Now, that could be for her. I've heard other people where they've mentioned, hey, their husband is retiring soon, and she feels she wants to take a notch up where she's working. She wants to get in management. So for her, her goal is more leadership oriented. Does that help, Robin?
Yeah, that does. I know there's Ann, thank you for that. She put in the member profile sheet, which is one way to do it because you have the form. Yet I found that if the VPE or the president really connects with them and has that quiet conversation, that origin story, that crucible moment, why are you here? What's bringing you here? Then as the officers are aware of that, they can steer them in the activities that will help meet those goals over time and develop those skills. So I'm just thinking about what's that onboarding conversation where we actually connect with the members to understand their personal goals. So important because that's the intrinsic motivation for them to keep going, even when they get past that initial fear of getting on stage.
Yes, and that's again maybe figuring out having that conversation with them to figure out how do they think that they're going to use this skill. In fact, there's a lot of emphasis on speeches, and that's really good. But if you think of it, the skill with impromptu speaking is something I use probably more often than speeches. Yes, I give speeches in my 9 to 5 job, but oftentimes I'm in meetings or I'm talking with small groups and something comes up. Oh, Sandy, what do you think about that? Or Sandy, what is your opinion on that? And boom, you've got to get up there. And it's like a mini speech, but it's what are the skills to first repeat the question, pause for a moment, sort of digest what they're asking. Think about quickly, how do you want to respond with that? Give a short, clear message, then respond about what you've just said. So that as well is a very important skill. And that might be something that somebody wants to work on. Does that help out? Are there other questions?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I couldn't raise my hand. I saw someone. I don't see a way to raise a hand. Rolf Aaron's here. I'm scheduled to do the icebreaker on December 3rd, and I have absolutely no idea. Are we going to go over this stuff again after we're done with the official meeting? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand, but I need a little more guidance, please.
Oh, no, that's a great question. So one of the first things you probably want to do is, have you been able to log into the Toastmasters site yet?
I'm logged in now, and I couldn't follow you. You were going too fast, so I just need. Yeah, I'm logged in. I'm kind of on the navigators
All right.
that page, but I don't know where to go. So I don't want to tie everyone up with my questions, but if we can get a little guidance after, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I can help you out with that. There's something that says like go to base camp. So that'll be the next step.
Yeah.
But after the questions, I'm more than willing, I can help you out with that.
Okay, thank you.
So
Uh,
Miriam has a question.
Maria?
Hi, Sandy, and
Hi.
thank you for the amazing training on pathways. However, I have selected my pathway, and that is dynamic leadership, but I don't know how does that work when I am into the club and I'm attending the meetings. So how does dynamic leadership works?
So one of the things that once you get into a new path, it's actually very similar to what we just went through with presentation mastery. When you get into dynamic leadership, you're going to see, remember that first slide I showed that said level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the first 3 had the green check marks? The best place to start is at level 1 with that first project. And then what you're going to find out is that although there are a number of different paths, level 1 is the same for all the paths. So you're going to see the icebreaker in that one as well. So that would be a good place to start. But what you're going to find is, again, level 1 is the same for everybody. But when you get into level 2, what you're going to find there are going to be 3 speeches. One, everybody at level 2 will do. It has to do with mentoring. But when you get into the other 2 speeches, they're more specific to dynamic leadership. As I mentioned, I did that path. So the 2 project you'll have there is one is understanding your communication style, and another is understanding your leadership style. And those are actually really cool. There's an interactive questionnaire you have to fill out, and it'll actually say not just that you have this one style, but you have a greater tendency for this style, maybe a little bit less for this one, and so far. I actually found those 2 projects very grounding for me because now I understand sort of what my native or natural styles are. And sometimes in different situations, I have to use different styles that are not as comfortable for me, but they make me more effective. I might have sent a little bit too much information there, but feel free to reach out to me afterwards. I have done that past. So does
Sure.
that
I'm
help?
curious.
Thank you. Thank you,
I'm
Sandy.
curious how many people have actually enrolled in a path? Can you raise your hand or put it in the chat?
I've enrolled.
You are ahead of the game. If you were to enroll right now, it takes, in my experience, it takes several hours for it actually to give you access to the path itself. Has that been the experience of other people?
Yes, I was going to ask about that. I keep choosing the first pathway, and then I go back to the home page, and then it doesn't appear anymore, and it just says choose free path. So that clears up my question.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let's see. I see Pauline. You've got a question? Oh, I mean, Donna. Well, I guess Pauline, sorry. Maybe not here.
Donna has a question.
All right.
Oh, no, sorry. I just didn't lower my hand earlier.
Okay.
One thing to note, if you were to plot out level 1 for all 6 paths, it would be identical. There's a lot of overlap. So when Sandy talked about what will happen at level 1 with presentation mastery, that is the same as dynamic leadership or engaging humor, any of the paths. That first level is the very same. And the third project in every level is intro to mentoring. There was a question about mentoring, and that gives you a little bit of an idea. But people do not have, in your club, they do not have had to complete the mentoring path to be a mentor. Anybody who is well versed in pathways can help you with pathways. And some clubs are, ideally, every club would have a very strong mentorship program. That's something that we need to sometimes work on.
I will add something there. Is it, Ruth, is it okay if I add something?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Pathways is an it's a very great platform. It's a great platform. I always ask people to click something new. Every week, every month, just click something new in Toastmasters.com and there is a gold mine of information in there. How many people love hiking here? Let me ask a question. How many people love hiking or going camping? Raise of hands. Yeah, so pathways is like hiking. You don't know when you take the next step, right? You go to a path, you see it, and you really don't know what the path looks like. You can see it in Google, some things are there. But then when you start the hiking process, right, then you learn a lot about the place, the location, the environment, the weather. Those things come out to you. So pathways is somewhat like hiking. You go through it and you will learn a lot as you progress. And you do it a couple of times, and that path will become very, very familiar to you in the future. So just wanted to add that.
And there was a question earlier in the chat, can you use outside speeches for Pathways projects? And indeed, yes, you can. Ideally, when you give the speech, you'll have a Toastmaster in the audience. They evaluate it, and as long as your VP of Education approves it, you're good.
Yeah. And you can also give it as an out-of-pocket speech. So Elaine is Yeah, I think you can also give it as an out-of-pocket speech, but I always recommend that you stay to the path, because even though it's very uncomfortable, that's where the learning happens. When we meet pathways objectives and the project objectives, like humor is very tough for me. I cannot do humor very well, and I still do it through pathways because it takes me out of my comfort zone, and I have to figure it out and I have to do it. And it really helps me, I learn something new about myself.
I don't know. My name is Elaine Brody. I don't know what I'm getting a reverb. I don't know what my goal is for the whole thing. I joined the, forget about it. I can't.
Elaine, I can work with you if you like afterwards.
It's very difficult for me to talk because I can't, I keep hearing myself back.
I understand. That's because you are on two different computers and so I can work with you afterwards. You're listed twice.
Looks like Abiola, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, has a question.
Not actually. I was gonna say that she's signing it in the two different places, and that's why she's having that reverberation.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are other questions?
Sandy, you might want to let people know that there is a document number 8077 that gives a description of each path and what is being done on each path, or what is required for each path. I did put it in the chat so people can download it.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
It's also on our district website under under Pathways.
I'd like to get some feedback on today's training, especially what What was one takeaway that was helpful, and is there something that could be improved? Because we'd like to offer this again. Just put it in the chat if you can.
We
We had a
won't
lot
shoot
of
you. Go
wonderful.
ahead and do it.
Pardon?
We won't shoot them. They can go ahead and do it. And if they prefer to do it anonymously, I'm going to put Ruth's email in the chat and you can send it to her directly.
Absolutely. You can do that. We have a lot of great resources. I see Terry Smith is on. He also has his formal name, Terrence. And he has gone through, he's done a great presentation to one of the clubs I belong to on how to use pathways. And there are just so many good resources in the district. So let us know. Let Sandy know, myself know, or send a chat right now to Terry if you want some help from him. Anne is always willing to
Yeah.
help.
And on that note, I want to add something here. Every club has a pathway champion. Someone in your club is that person who loves pathways, and you will find that person. So find that person, and that person will be your guide when you go. Like I always say this, when you go hiking, if you have a guide, you will know a lot of things about the place, or you can do it by yourself. But find that champion in your club. And if you cannot find that champion by any chance, then you always have the resources like myself, Ruth, Sandy, and here, who you can always contact and come back to us. But I've never found a club where there is not a champion for pathways. And that person is the person you want to connect with.
I think Anoop's suggestion, just click on it. Once you choose your path, it does become pretty intuitive. It's very similar to a lot of the platforms that corporations use for their onboarding people or training their people, giving updates. You're all new. No, we were specifically inviting new members. Not everybody is a new member on this call. But if you are a new member, you don't have experience with the old platform that we use for Pathways. It's become much more intuitive. It's very interactive. And I think just by playing around with it, you will learn a lot and feel much more comfortable. But if you want any additional help, please, I'm willing to do a Zoom call. And I know Sandy is, Anne is, Terry may be able to I don't want to volunteer you without your permission, but we can do a one-on-one. That's what I often do with members in our club. So you actually go on and check it out yourself.
And I can attest to that because Ruth is the person who taught me pathways.
Sandy, can you go ahead and upload your PowerPoint presentation?
Sure, I can do that.
Thank you. Robin?
Just a quick follow-up to Anoop. When Anoop was saying that in each club there is a Pathways champion, I would just add to that as a new member, ask your club officers. Just say, is there someone in the club that could connect with me to orient me on pathways? So if they haven't proactively reached out to you, just ask the question to your club officers. It doesn't have to be a club officer, but it could be anyone in the club who is that Pathways champion. Ask them, because the district leaders here, like Ruth and Ann and everyone, Sandy, are very generous with their time, but really the club officers are your closest advisors on the week to week, day to day, meeting to meeting, journey. And so it would be helpful to just ask them, say, hey, in a nice way, who's a good person for me to connect with about pathways in our club? And then the district can supplement with that.
Yep.
I'm impressed that Rolf has already scheduled his icebreaker with his VPE. I would encourage all of you to talk to the VPE, get on the schedule. Be great to do it within the next couple of weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. But there are a lot of options with the icebreaker. You're talking about yourself. It can be one portion period in your life, or it can be a chronology of your life, where you were born and where you are now, how you got here. It can be about your career, about your family. One club even makes it almost a table topics icebreaker, where the person that's giving the icebreaker just answers a few questions by somebody else in the club. The main thing is to just get up and do it. Get started. Well, we're at 8:57. Sandy, do you have any final comments?
Just wanted to let people know if anybody wanted to stick around afterwards and get some help, let me know. And feel free to reach out as you're going through it if you have questions. It's wonderful. Please ask questions. That's how you improve your understanding.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandy. Two Sandys.
Sandy. Yeah, thanks everyone. I have one quick question regarding the speaking. Before you give your icebreaker speech, you need to be a table topic speaker. Does that mean it doesn't necessarily mean leading table topics,
Yeah,
but
it's a
just
confusing
participating?
name. Yeah, I wish they had came up with something different. I've even heard it called, like, there's a table topics master and then a table topics responder. So it's more like a responder. Just somebody is going to ask you a question and you'll try and get to at least 1 minute. Or maybe that's not a problem. So great question though. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that way you're comfortable before you go and give your icebreaker speech.
You might even meet that requirement when you first visit the club and they ask you a table topics question.
Yes. Did Samantha have a question? Were you saying something, Samantha?
No, I was just going to say thank you so much for your guys' help this morning. I hope you all have a good day and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Can I ask a quick question before we all leave?
Of course.
Ruth or somebody was saying, get on the schedule and give your icebreaker. Great suggestion, and it's what we try for. We try to get a member to give their icebreaker as soon as possible, but we don't track who's giving table topics. What if that person hasn't given a table topics? Is Pathways going to refuse it?
I really liked what our region advisor said with questions like this. Local rules apply.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
For those who are still on, is there something we can help you with? Just let us know what that is and we'll work on it so everybody can see it. I have the whole day.
I need to drop, folks, but thank you very much. I need to go and pick up my
Thanks,
daughter.
everyone. Welcome to Toastmasters.
Thank you.
Before you go, I sent you an email regarding a Noop's request.
Also, if people are trying,
yes, I saw that. I did respond.
Thank you.
If people are waiting, if they have questions about logging in, please let me know. We can.
Rolf, would you like to get started? Do you want to share your screen?
I don't know how to do that, so
I don't see a green button.
I don't
under
see
more, at the bottom, on the controls, under more, there should be a green arrow, share.
No, okay, it's in a
Platform
different,
are you on?
it's in a different, I have it here. It's in a different place. All right.
Okay.
So what do you want me to do? Just share screen?
That would
Yes.
be great.
Okay. Oh boy.
Good time. Got all day.
I would like to record. Okay, that's whatever. I'm getting all these. I have to change all kinds of system settings here. Holy smokes. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a million pop-up windows here. It's going to force me to log out and I don't know what's going on here. I don't. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening here. I'm getting a million pop-ups. I'm on a Mac system. It's telling I have to give like 20 different permissions here. Okay.
Sandy, you're the expert on that part, so ask.
I don't want to waste everyone's time.
It's fine.
I'm getting
You're gonna have to do it anyway, so we don't mind helping. Oh, we have a new baby family. Nice.
Hold on. I have to start. I'm gonna open.
While you work on that, we're gonna go into, you know what we could do, Sandy, is we could go into a breakout room with him and have you work with him, and then we can work with the other people.
Yeah, I don't want to tie everyone up.
We can do that.
Okay.
Okay, that's
And
done.
I have another commitment, so I need to leave. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandy. That was fabulous. Thank you, Anne, and thank you, participants. Very much appreciate it.
Okay, I'm assigning Rolf and Sandy to a breakout room. If you can just go ahead and accept the invitation to join the breakout room. There should be something on your screen, Rolf, about going to the breakout room, or you can choose it.
I'm back. I had to disconnect to reconnect here. Sorry. I still don't know what's going on. I don't know this stuff very well.
Do you see an invitation at the bottom of the screen that says join breakout room?
Nope. I don't. Usually I'm good with technology, but I'm not good with Zoom. I apologize.
That's okay. Don't apologize. The rest of us will go into a breakout room and we'll leave you in this room. There are solutions and you just have to be flexible. Hang on a minute.
I just don't see it. Weird.
Okay. The rest of us are going into room 1 and then you can stay in here. I'll bring Sandy back and let me move to main session and let her know what's happening. You're on twice, by the way. Why is that? Are you on 2?
How do I don't know.
No, just stay where you are. Don't do anything.
All
I'll
right.
go and join this room where the
Down
other people are.
Okay. Sorry to be a pain in the butt, dear.
Oh, no. Okay, so you said what you're getting are a lot of Mac. So in your browser, I guess you're getting a lot of pop-ups. I'll tell you, I'm not super as familiar with Mac as I am when it's Windows, but I can. Is it the browser where you're getting the pop-ups, or?
Yeah, it's giving me all kinds of permissions and security issues, and I just did the whole thing, and it didn't take. So
and that's when you go to what, and the URL you're going to is toastmasters.org, or you've.
No, I'm on the screen that you and I are sharing. At the bottom is a little button that says share screen, And I'm
Oh,
getting
so it's the Zoom that you're having problems with. Oh,
yeah.
um,
Can you just, I mean, I have the navigator thingamajiggy open here somewhere.
let's
Actually, I
see.
lost it. It logged me out.
How
This is
can I,
just, I don't
do
know,
you
to
have
me,
a
this
way that you could share? Well, you can't share, I guess, is the problem.
just
Let's,
feels like this is more complicated than it needs to be, or I'm just not getting it. And I do apologize.
oh no, hey, it's, a different thing you're not as familiar with. So just out of curiosity, so with your Zoom application, have you ever shared your screen or no, this is a new thing? It's a new thing.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I just did everything it prompted me to do. And then
Yeah.
I restarted, came out and came back on. And it's taking me through the exact same prompts. I don't know. The max security is kind of wonky.
Huh. Let's see. Um,
But if I were to log in, can you just kind of point me to places, or is that going to be too?
yeah, no, sure, I can do that. So why don't we,
I
that
don't want to
works
type.
as well.
I
Oh
don't
no,
want to
hey,
type the whole day
I'm
on
okay
this.
with it. No, this is I've got until about 12:30, so
Hopefully, we won't be that long.
yeah.
Uh,
But I do technology for a living, so I mean I'm used to
I did it as well
technology.
for 14 years, but that was
Yeah, this is
11,
I hear you. Yeah.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm logging into the navigator URL.
If you could just log into Toastmasters.org.
Okay. Bear with me. It's hard to type when someone's watching me.
Yeah, oh no, I hear that too.
It's
Well, you
easier.
saw me, right? So all of a sudden I forget how to spell. It's like, oh,
Okay, log in. Okay, so I went to toastmasters.org. I'm typing in, starting from there.
okay, great place.
You probably hear clicking on my keyboard.
Ah, it's okay.
All right, see if it actually works. All right, just thinking really hard. So I'm on toastmasters.org/myhome.
Excellent. All right. So does it say like, where can we take you today, Rolf, or something
Yes,
like
right
that?
up top, yes.
Okay, so if you scoot down just a little bit on the left, you'll see a tile. They call them tiles. Those squares, they call them tiles.
Yep.
Go to base camp. Do you see that?
It's not here. Let me just do a search, see if I'm missing
And
it.
that might be okay. What do you see on that page?
My education and achievements with a tile.
That's right.
Leadership,
Okay.
leadership central with club officer, 2 tiles from the
Okay.
organization.
So up at the top under my education achievements, what do you see any tiles underneath it or no?
It says choose free path. Select
Okay.
your
So
first
that's
learning.
it. So that means that you have to choose a path.
Okay.
And so we can click on that. And as I said, we're trying to reduce the complexity, although there's 6 paths. You've already got one that's presentation mastery. So if you click on what you just told me, and then I can't see that now. I've done it before, but you'll have to tell me what you see.
Right. So I choose a path, select preferences, box number 1 drop down. So English, of course.
Yeah.
How would you like to select your learning path? Select presentation mastery. View
Yeah,
all.
that if you want to do the presentation mastery, you can just select that and say that's the one that I want to go with.
Manage difficult audience. Yes, that's me.
I actually gave that talk this Thursday, which is really interesting. It's an excellent project.
Okay, now let's just continue.
And this is you had select presentation mastery, right? So, okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's thinking. Still thinking. There we go. Good. Success, Toastmaster errands. You are all set. Go back to my home.
All right. Now that's a little bit deceiving though, as they talked about that once you select it, it seems like it takes a couple hours for their system to kick in. And then if you would then log in, say, let's see, what it's 9 o'clock. I mean, maybe later in the day, you log in, do exactly what you did before. You log in, and under My Achievements or My Education Achievements, you'll see a new